Okay, so we're getting really near the end of actually us making this database. Um, in the last video I said we couldn't make a link to queries. You can see in here we'd no queries. If I just close and go to Switchboard Manager, if I went into queries and clicked edit and then went to new, I'm going to try and add a new link on my queries part. Sorry, and click new. If you see here in terms of what commands I can give it to go to switchboard or open reports or applications. Now I can't actually make it open a query here. You can see it doesn't say anything about queries. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close that and close that. I'm going to do something called a macro. Just click back to home and then create, and then up here is something called macro. Now a macro is it says, if you hover your mouse over, it says add logic to your database to create more usable interfaces. Really what a macro is a little bit of computer programming, so you kind of tell it to do things automatically. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to click macro, and you might want to take a couple of print screens of this, because this is quite high level stuff, especially if you're going for a merit and distinction. I would definitely be print screening and explaining what we're doing. So in our macro, what we wanted to do, and you may want to take a print screen of you doing this, is we wanted to open a query. Okay, and this little thing will pop open, so you might want to take a print screen of that and explain that you're using a macro to create an open query. Okay, so hopefully you're taking a print screen of that. What I'm going to do is I want to open a query, and it'll ask me, well, what query do I want? Obviously it's going to pick the ones that are down here on this side, so I'm going to do the female customers. Okay, what I've done there is select the query name, what view, and I'm going to say datasheet. I can, in any of these views, I'm just going to leave it in datasheet view, and then data mode I'm just going to leave it as edit. Okay, so what that would do is, in theory, it would allow, it's going to pop open a query later on in our switchboard. Okay, I'm also going to add another action to it, and I'm going to say it's going to be I'm going to ask it to display a message. Okay, so if I just what I want is it to display a message. My eyesight isn't very good, so I'm just going to try and find it here. Shout if you see it. And here it is, sorry, is message box. Okay, so I'm going to select message box, and then what message I wanted to do. So I'm going to say that if I want to edit it, to edit the query, please select design view. Okay, because we're going to show it in datasheet view, which is kind of the completed version. What we're going to say is that if somebody tries to edit it, a little pop-up will come up and say, to edit query, please select design view. Okay, will it beep? Yes. Type none, and then I'm going to say, just put a title. I'm going to call it female customers. Okay, now at this point you might want to take a print screen and explain, well, what things you've done. You've done a macro so that a query will open. You've also done a macro so that if someone tries to edit it, a little message box will pop open. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you've taken a print screen and explained that you've done a macro for it to open a query and a little message box to appear. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to save. Okay, when I click this, save it, it'll ask me to call it macro 1 now. I'm going to call it female customers macro. You can call it really whatever you want. I'm going to call it female customers just so we're organized. Okay, so I'm going to call it female customers, click OK, and you'll see that down here female customers will appear. Okay, in the next video I'll show you how we can connect our macro into our actual into our database manager.